From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
And it is 5 o'clock here on your Monday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
Lauren, good morning, and I'm Rafael Sanchez. These are your headlines on this November the 9th. Multiple central Indiana school systems going back online today as COVID-19 cases continue to rise. Our Kelsey Anderson breaks down what you need to know about these latest changes.
President-elect Joe Biden looking ahead to his time in office, what he's saying for his plans for COVID-19 and the advisors he wants to bring in to help.
And the community honoring the life of an IU student whose life was cut short, what they're doing to continue his work of giving back. It is a new week here on Good Morning Indiana, so welcome back. Hello to Lauren Casey, who took a couple of days off. Glad you found your way back up on I-65. Good to have you with us. And a big thank you, of course, as always, to Nicole Griffin. I hope that Todd also had a great weekend as well.
Yeah, Rafael, you'd be proud because I got all my Christmas stuff put up inside the house anyways. I know. However, I did not make it outside, and I should have because we had beautiful weather for it, Todd.
I told Lauren, I said, I put up my Christmas lights outside yesterday. I haven't turned them on yet, but I wanted to take advantage of the warmth and get them up on some of the trees and on the house. So I did that over the weekend, but also on a nice bike ride yesterday. Enjoyed the warmth. This morning as you get going on this Monday, temperatures are not bad at all. We're in the 50s with a mainly clear sky. This is where our highs should be this time of year, and we're already there this morning. Now, there's been a little more in the way of cloud cover here to the north, but that continues to push to the north, and we're going to have a lot of sunshine here throughout the day today. That is the good news. We have this band of rain and some snow off to our west. That's a cold front that's going to be heading in our direction, but it doesn't arrive until late tomorrow. So until then, we are just going to enjoy temperatures that are going to be well above normal. And in fact, today, potentially another record high temperature as we get all the way up to about 77 to 78 degrees with partly cloudy skies. It's really just another terrific day. Take advantage, get outside, rake some of those leaves up. Maybe if you did leaves over the weekend, you can enjoy the warmth, maybe a walk here later on this afternoon. More on your extended forecast and the cool down, Lauren, heading our way coming up in just a couple minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look right now at traffic. This is I-70 near Ronald Reagan Parkway out near the Plainfield area near the airport ramps. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed. The orange barrels are pulled out of the travel lanes, so all lanes are open there heading eastbound and westbound. That is good news this morning. We'll continue to keep you updated if there are any crashes or trouble spots you need to avoid. At 5:03, Rafael, a rise in COVID-19 cases is forcing several school districts in our area to return to remote learning.
And Lauren, this impacts thousands of young people. This morning, our Kelsey Anderson joins us with the changes to those school schedules. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So you're right. Students across the state, they're going to see another change once again in their school schedule because of the spike currently happening in COVID-19 cases. So students in Greenwood, they've been attending class in person this year, but starting today, the high school and middle school will move to a hybrid schedule. District leaders making that change in response to those growing COVID-19 numbers. Johnson County currently has a positivity rate of almost 9% and is classified as orange on the state dashboard. That's when health leaders recommend moving to this hybrid model. Now, despite that information, another district in Greenwood will not move to the hybrid model. Center Grove schools will continue the year completely in person. They sent an email to parents saying district metrics don't support a change right now, as only 2% of their students are currently out for COVID-related absences. Now, they aren't the only ones changing either, with students at New Palestine High School switching to fully virtual learning for the next 2 weeks, and Bartholomew County schools will also move to an e-learning model starting today and lasting through November 24th. Now, this is a change a number of schools are making. And if you remember, HSC schools and a lot of these Fisher schools, they were the last ones to go back to school. So they have not made a decision yet on what they're going to do as far as this rise in COVID-19 cases. But the health board is going to meet tomorrow. So we're going to have more information for that for you coming up in the next half hour. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you so much. Those high numbers are driving those decisions as Indiana continues to see a record number of COVID-19 cases. The State Department of Health reported nearly 10,000 new cases in total over the weekend here in our state. The new record high at 5,007, that was set on Saturday. 4,689 new cases were set on Sunday. Indiana's total number now sits at more than 210,000 cases. 36 more Hoosiers have died with the virus. That brings the state's death total to 4,383. Testing also continues to increase, with more than 90,000 new tests reported this weekend. More than 1.8 million Hoosiers have been tested since the pandemic began. Lauren?
Well, Notre Dame's president says he's very disappointed after thousands of students here stormed the field following Notre Dame's win against Clemson Saturday night. This as the campus is seeing an increase in COVID-19 cases. Their dashboard showing 189 new cases were confirmed last week. According to ESPN, President Reverend John Jenkins sent a letter to students Sunday to express his disappointment. He says students will now be required to undergo testing before they leave campus this semester. The letter also said those who engage in activities both on and off campus that do not meet the guidelines will be subject to severe sanctions.
This morning, President-elect Joe Biden focusing on what's next. ABC's Alex Prochet has more on his plan for COVID-19.
With the election behind him, President-elect Joe Biden is setting his focus on what will be one of the biggest early challenges of his presidency, the coronavirus. He's set to announce his COVID task force this morning. Biden is expected to name former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy and former FDA Commissioner David Kessler among those to lead the group, with plans to double the number of testing sites and invest in at-home tests, create a nationwide dashboard to let Americans monitor virus transmission by zip code, and call on governors to mandate masks. Jubilant and jogging, Joe Biden addressed the country for the first time as president-elect on Saturday.
I'll work as hard for those who didn't vote for me as those who did. This is the time to heal in America.
Calling on the country to unite. Biden then spending Sunday visiting the gravesite of his late son, Beau. Back in Washington, President Trump's refusing to concede. He spent the weekend golfing and tweeting, but not speaking publicly. His closest allies doing that for him.
I believe President Trump still has a path to victory.
If Republicans don't challenge and change the U.S. election system, there'll never be another Republican president elected again. President Trump should not concede.
Without presenting any evidence of widespread voter fraud, the president's attorneys have continued to launch legal challenges in hopes of taking their fight to the Supreme Court. But some of those cases have already been dismissed in Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada. They're expected to launch more legal challenges this week, but Democrats and Republicans want to see proof.
If you can't show us, we can't do this. We can't back you blindly without evidence.
President Trump has no items on his schedule right now. Joe Biden is expected to deliver remarks again later today. Alex Prochet, ABC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
At 5:08 after the results Saturday, former President George W. Bush says he called to congratulate Biden and Harris on winning the White House. Bush is the only living former Republican president. He said he knows President-elect Biden to be a good man and that he won the opportunity to lead the U.S. in an election that was, quote, fundamentally fair. In a statement, Bush also said that President Trump has the right to request recounts. He also had a message for Americans saying that he urges everyone to wish the new president and the vice president well.
New developments in the Drejon Reed case. WRTV Investigates has learned that IMPD officers have been alerted that the grand jury reviewing Reed's shooting death may release its findings as early as today. As you may recall, Reed was shot and killed following a police chase that turned into a foot chase on May the 6th. Metro Police say that Reed shot at police, while Reed's family's legal team denies that. State police and a special prosecutor led this investigation. Again, WRTV Investigates has learned that officers are aware of a pending decision from that grand jury. Lauren?
Raphael, fire investigators say that a large house fire on the north side over the weekend is a case of arson. The fire happened at a home on 91st Street around 4 a.m. Saturday. The couple inside escaped their burning home after being woken by their dogs. No one was hurt, thankfully. And officers there say that the fire started in a rear deck and fueled by a large amount of split wood underneath. It's not exactly clear what sparked the fire, but investigators believe that this was intentionally set. So if you have any information about this, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. You can do that anonymously at 317-262-TIPS.
And 2 people have died after a crash, this happening in Henry County around 7 p.m. yesterday in New Lisbon at Dublin Pike, that's near 725 East. According to Indiana State Police, a car drifted into oncoming traffic and hit 2 motorcycles. The driver and passenger of one of the motorcycles were pronounced dead at the scene. The coroner identified them as 60-year-old Willie Jean Rose Jr. and 63-year-old Wanda Rose of Newcastle. The 2 people on the second motorcycle were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the car suffered minor injuries. This crash is still under investigation.
At 5:10, a young man's life honored by the community after he was killed by a stray bullet last month while in New York City. Last night on the east side, people gathered to remember 20-year-old IU student Ethan Williams, holding a celebration and dinner and a fundraiser for local charities that were important to him. It was held at the Beholder restaurant where Ethan worked. They used the meal to raise money and feature one of Ethan's favorite foods, burgers.
His last tweet was he wanted to do a burger pop-up, and so kind of live in his memory, do some toast, think about some memories, share some stories. If we need to cry, we'll do some crying.
Well, a large part of the money raised will go towards a library named for Ethan in Rwanda and the Imana Kids Hope Village. His parents and friends say that he was also passionate about finding solutions to poverty and violence here in Indianapolis. At 5:11, let's check in with Todd and get a bus stop forecast for the kids who are heading out the door in a little bit, Todd.
Yeah, you know, if you're not e-learning and you have to go out to the bus stop this morning, not a bad morning to get out there and then wait for the bus to stroll up. You probably need a light jacket. That's just about it. You definitely don't need the hat or gloves here today with temperatures that are going to be in the mid-50s. As you head home from school, though, get outside and enjoy the warmth and all the sunshine. Once again, just like yesterday, high temperatures are going all the way up into the mid to upper 70s later on this afternoon. In fact, we could hit another record high temperature today if we get to above 76, which I think we should easily do. It'll be the second day in a row. So temperatures tomorrow are still right around 70 degrees, and then they come crashing down and we'll be in the 50s for the remainder of the week. And while that is much cooler than what we've been experiencing, our average high is 56. So we go from way above normal to seasonable across the area, not way below normal. So that is good news. There will be the passage of the cold front as that front comes through and drops the temperatures. A round of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms possible late tomorrow. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you. As we get closer to the Thanksgiving holiday, health experts are concerned about gatherings, the new recommendations they have to keep you and your family safe at the dinner table.
And Tropical Storm Eta making landfall overnight in Florida. The latest on the storm's path and the rescue efforts underway after the storm's deadly destruction in Central America. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this Monday, November the 9th.
At 5:16, November is already proving to be a brutal month for the coronavirus across the country. More than 100,000 new cases were reported on Sunday, making it the 5th worst day of the pandemic so far. As we told you earlier, Indiana reported more than 4,600 of those cases. 451 deaths were also reported in the U.S. According to Johns Hopkins University, more than 237,000 Americans have died with the virus since the pandemic began. And so as we get closer to Thanksgiving, health experts are recommending ways to make the holiday safer. If you plan to have guests over, they say get tested and isolate 2 weeks before you take a COVID test because of the virus incubation period. That goes for everyone in your household. Health experts also say to limit guests, gather outside if you can or keep the windows open if you do not do it inside. Also be sure to separate food ahead of time into individual servings. Although these safety precautions can reduce the risk of COVID-19, health experts say it's still not 100% foolproof.
The search and rescue crews are looking for more than 100 people missing from landslides being caused, of course, by Hurricane Eta. Officials in Guatemala say the death toll there now stands at 27 and 108 people are still missing. Drone images show the devastation where more than 150 homes were destroyed by those mudslides. Air bridges have been built to allow helicopters to bring supplies to the area. Eta hit Guatemala as a Category 4 hurricane last Tuesday. Many places there are still dealing with major flooding, as well as you can see from these aerial views. Now here's a live look at the radar. Eta is now a tropical storm and made landfall in the Florida Keys overnight. It is expected to cause storm surge flooding up to 4 feet. According to the National Hurricane Center, Ada will move into the Florida Bay and return to Florida hurricane status later today. A serious situation there. Those folks, they really need a break from all this terrible weather. So we hope that they get a break very soon, Todd and Lauren.
And back here at home, we are seeing some record heat, Todd, and no complaints here. It's been pretty nice.
Yeah, you know, we've been enjoying all this warmth. It's been very mild. Yesterday, record high temperature, potentially one today, potentially one tomorrow as well. Let's talk about Ada. This storm is moving really, really slow. The good news for us, it's not going to impact us here in central Indiana. It's a tropical storm, as Raphael mentioned. It's going to kind of meander back out into the Gulf of Mexico, briefly become a hurricane, and then make its way back north of Tampa into North Florida. But look at these timestamps. Here's where it is right now. Here's where it's going. By Tuesday, it's out in the Gulf, and then eventually Friday making landfall. So it's going to kind of linger just off the Florida coast, at least for the next week or so. Closer to home, here's the warmth that we have this morning as you walk out the door already. We're in the 50s and 60s. 60 in Martinsville right now, 59 in Lafayette, 56 in Tipton, 53 is the current temperature in Greenfield. Temperatures this morning will hold pretty steady until the sun comes up, which is typical, and then we'll see our temperatures start to moderate pretty quickly. In fact, as we approach the noon hour, we're looking at high temperatures today that will be right around 70 degrees, or your noontime temperature, I should say, will be right around 70 degrees, and then we'll continue to warm all the way into the upper 70s later on this afternoon. We've had a little bit of cloud cover here throughout the overnight hours, continues to push to the north, otherwise mainly clear skies. Grab the sunglasses as you walk out the door. You will definitely need them for the day today. But here's the change, and it's a cold front that is off to our west, and there's been a lot of snow across the western portion of the country. We will not tap into that, but we will see some showers and storms eventually head our way late in the day tomorrow. Today, though, enjoy the partly cloudy skies. Look where we're going for high temperatures. Very similar to yesterday. 78 in Kokomo, 77 in Marion, Anderson, right around 79 degrees in the central portion of the state. It's not out of the question there could be some 80s out there, especially once you work your way south of I-70, Martinsville right around 80 degrees, and then high temperatures in Columbus and Bloomington, Seymour and Bedford right around 80 as well. Take advantage. You don't get these days too often as we progress here through November and then eventually into December. This evening, if you have plans, maybe a light jacket's needed as temperatures fall back down into the 60s once the sun sets. And then as we look at the day tomorrow, there's more clouds around and temperatures will be climbing up into the mid 70s. The record for tomorrow is 75. We may get there in between hours here. It's all going to depend on the cloud cover. Whether we break the record or not, it's still a very warm day for us. And then by 8 o'clock, that's when we start to bring some showers in. So do not think of tomorrow as a wet day for us. There could be a stray shower during the afternoon, but it's very, very isolated. It's not until after sunset, and many of you are indoors already, that we start to bring in the more significant threat of rain, and that's going to be the passage of the cold front. It's going to be a thin band of rain, just going to move through very quickly. The timing probably limits our threat of severe weather for the day tomorrow. That's the good news. So this will come through maybe with some gusty winds, quick burst of rain, but by the time we get to your morning commute on Wednesday, the front is basically almost all the way through the area, and at that point we will be in good shape going forward. It'll be much cooler starting on Wednesday with a temperature in the mid 50s, and then we stay in the mid 50s as we work our way throughout the remainder of the week, which is, Lauren, seasonable for this time of year.
All right, Todd, thanks. Let's take a look right now at traffic. If you're heading out the door at this hour, no problems to report around the metro area. This is a live look to our north at I-465, a view here near Westfield Boulevard. You can see traffic is pretty quiet, traveling up to speed both eastbound and westbound along the north side. No issues to slow you down. Raphael?
Lauren, so a major loss for the fans of Alex Trebek, who, as you know, hosted the popular game show Jeopardy! A Sony spokesperson who produces that show says that fans will continue to see Trebek since the shows were taped weeks in advance. The new episodes with Trebek will air all the way through Christmas Day. Trebek passed away on Sunday. He was 80 years old.
New transportation technology in progress made its first test run over the weekend with passengers. It's called the Virgin Hyperloop, and it's similar to this one here. It uses magnets and vacuum tubes to move pods. The goal is to reach 600 miles per hour with low energy. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk is also interested in this technology. The time right now is 5:22. Good morning, Indiana. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 5:26. Here's a live look at I-69 at 96th Street up in Fishers. Good morning to you. Traffic here is moving along smoothly both northbound and southbound. Raphael, no delays to slow you down.
So the road to the holidays, Todd and Lauren, is just a couple of weeks away. And of course, Todd, we know that Lauren Casey is the best Christmas tree decorator. In fact, at the top of these newscasts, she declared that she's already decorated her home. So, you know, it's hard to keep up with someone so amazing. So I just wanted to make sure that we here at Franklin are ready.
Love it.
And
it looks
Todd,
great.
for later in the week, Todd, I have our "Oh Snap, it's cold outside" hat. We are ready for the holidays.
I just want to know where you store all this stuff in your home, Raphael. Do you have like a special
It's
closet?
all in the living room.
Oh, it's all
in the living room, all down here.
That's great, but you're right. It's going to get a lot cooler here as we get towards the end of the week. So snap. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with temperatures that are in the 50s. As you walk out the door, it's not bad this morning. Partly cloudy skies here throughout the entire day today. But look where we're going for temperatures later on this afternoon. Once again, up into the upper 70s. Very similar to yesterday. Yesterday, we got a record of 79 degrees. Not a question that we could get to 79 once again today, but we should break the record of 76. Enjoy. We'll talk more about the changes that Raphael and myself were alluding to with the cooler temperatures coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Several central Indiana schools making schedule changes as the number of COVID-19 cases continues to surge. We're live this morning with what you and your students need to know this morning.
Plus, a renewed call for retired hospital workers to join the fight against the coronavirus. The message from state health leaders as hospital systems start to become more overwhelmed. Here at 5:30, I want to thank you for joining our team on Good Morning Indiana on this Monday morning. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Claus and Raphael Sanchez are joining me again, socially distanced. And Raphael, I hope you had a great weekend and got outside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I just say wow like 18 times? Todd Clausen, we are getting spoiled with this great weather. Please, we do not want it to end.
Well, you know, yeah, 2 more days, today and tomorrow of the warmth, Raphael, to take advantage. But it's very, very rare that you can string this many 70-degree days in a row together in the month of November. It does not happen very often, and to do potentially maybe 3 record highs in a row is even more rare, and that's what we have the opportunity to do if we get there today, which I think is a pretty good bet. Tomorrow, it's going to depend on the cloud cover, but either way, we're into the 70s both days. What do you need to grab before you go as you walk out the door? Sunglasses and just the light jacket. You'll be able to shed that jacket pretty quickly today once the sun comes up. But until then, some of you may want it with temperatures that are in the 50s here across central Indiana, 57 in Indy, 59 in Bloomington, as well as Lafayette. Pair of Nichols there in Muncie with a temperature of 55 degrees. There's been a little bit of cloud cover overnight in northern locations here. That's going to continue to push up to the north, and we'll have a mainly clear sky. The game changer is going to be this cold front that is off to our west. You see the rain and the snow. That is going to head in our direction, but it's a really, really slow mover, so it's not going to arrive until late in the day tomorrow. So for today, 73 degrees by the noon hour. Your high today should get up to about 78, 79 in between the noon hour and 5 p.m. You have to remember at 5 p.m. the sun's already starting to set this time of year, so our highs now occur right around 3 o'clock. But either way, it's a very warm day with those partly cloudy skies. More on your extended forecast and the big cool down heading our way in just a few minutes, Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads at this hour. Here's a look in the downtown area at I-65 and I-70 at the North Split, where you can see things are moving along up to speed. Right now, no major crashes or delays around the metro area or around central Indiana, but of course, we're keeping a close eye on your roads, and we'll let you know if there are any trouble spots to avoid. Raphael?
Lauren, it is a return to remote learning. A spike in COVID cases in our state forcing some schools to shift their schedules once again. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson with the changes that are happening this Monday. Kelsey, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So we told you in the last half hour that several schools are going all the way remote or back to that hybrid model amid this rise in COVID-19 cases. But we're here in Fishers this morning where they were some of the last schools to go back in session in person, and they have not made a decision yet on what they're going to do, but we do know a decision is coming. So the Fishers Health Department will meet tomorrow night and in a press release saying, quote, "We are not recommending that schools and businesses close at this time, but we do advise a review of additional mitigation measures that can be taken to keep public and shared locations as safe as possible," end quote. The health department plans to provide a comprehensive update and recommendations tomorrow, and then the next day the Hamilton Southeastern Board of Education will meet to discuss that recommendation and what their next steps will be. Now, several schools in Johnson County, Bartholomew County, and in New Pal High School, they are taking that step back. They are doing either remote learning or that hybrid model for the next 2 weeks just to assess that situation and see where they are at with COVID-19 cases. So, of course, we will keep you updated on which schools are ongoing hybrid or remote, but you can double check all of that right now over at WRTV.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. And let's take a look at where the state stands. Our state health officials report more than 4,000 new cases of COVID-19. On Sunday, 4,689 cases were reported. That follows a record high day of more than 5,000 cases reported Saturday. It also marks the third day in a week more than 4,000 cases were reported in a single day. State health officials also report 36 additional COVID-related deaths here in the Hoosier state. To date, 4,383 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. This month alone accounts for 290 Hoosier deaths. As cases continue to rise, we are keeping a close eye on hospitalizations and hospital resources across the state. You can see a look at that on our screen right now. As of this morning, more than 2,000 people are hospitalized with COVID or suspected of having COVID across the state. A little more than 30% of the ICU beds remain available statewide, and about 77% of ventilators in our state are still available.
This morning, state officials renewing their call for retired healthcare workers to help with the spike in coronavirus cases. Staffing issues continue to be the greatest challenge, and that's according to State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box. During last week's coronavirus update, Dr. Box said that healthcare workers in Indiana are swamped and needing support now more than ever.
Perhaps the greatest strain right now is on our hospital workforce, which is in the 9th month now of responding to this pandemic and facing the greatest patient load yet. They are frankly exhausted. They're quarantined or in a family quarantine. They're juggling home issues just like the rest of us, like hybrid schooling. And some have even lost coworkers and family members to this disease. This all takes an incredible toll. Quite frankly, our frontline healthcare workers are exhausted. They need our support now more than ever, both emotionally and physically.
Both Dr. Box and Governor Holcomb said Wednesday that they appreciate all the work that healthcare workers are doing, but they emphasized that we all need to do our part and show our gratitude, of course, by wearing masks, practicing social distancing, and washing our hands.
Let's turn now to the latest from Washington. With no concession in sight and plans from President Trump to contest the election results, the 2020 election may not be over just yet. Sources say the Trump campaign is stirring up doubt about election results. Part of the strategy includes voter fraud. So far, there's not been any evidence of widespread voter fraud to verify those claims. Another idea is to replace electoral college members in states that do not legally require electors to reflect the will of voters, but time is ticking. December 8th is the safe harbor deadline that kicks in. That's when governors of states where election results were contested have to send in an explanation on how their state reached its final results. Those results will be considered when the Electoral College meets December 14th to vote. Those votes must be then delivered to the state district courts by December 23rd in time for Congress to count the votes in January.
Meanwhile, Joe Biden, who won the Electoral College to become the president-elect, is putting together a transition team in place. A part of that team includes his own coronavirus task force. It will consist of a 12-member team headed by 3 co-chairs, former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, former FDA Commissioner David Kessler, and Yale University's Dr. Marcela Nunez-Smith. As for the other members, we will have to wait until Biden's announcement, which is expected later today. And we will continue to stay on top of the latest information with ABC News Team's coverage, as well as right here on our website, WRTV.com. You can also find everything that you need to know by going to WRTV.com/election2020.
It is 5:38. New employment opportunities are opening up. So this morning, we're bringing them to you in our Hiring Hoosiers job feed. IU Health is hosting a virtual hiring event this week in an effort to fill hundreds of open and critical positions. The hospital system is looking to add more than 700 nurses and medical assistants across the state. There's a particular focus on hiring registered nurses and medical assistants. We spoke to the chief medical officer of IU Health Methodist and University Hospitals. He tells us staffing and people are his biggest concern as the pandemic continues.
Our team members are part of our community, and the community rates that we're seeing are also affecting our team members. So we know that some of our team members are going to be sick, and we are working to try to resource some of the additional staff that we can, as well as looking for some external resources. Now, everybody across the country is looking for those same resources, so that's really unprecedented demand right now.
You can find out more information about the virtual hiring event that is right now on hiringhoosiers.com. The Indiana Department of Correction also trying to fill a number of open positions. The agency will host its second of 3 virtual hiring events this month. The next job fair is set for this Thursday, November 12th at 3:30 p.m. A final hiring event of the month will be held November 18th. You can find even more open positions right now by going to the job board on hiringhoosiers.com. You can also go to the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page. Raphael?
They've been falling for weeks, and now the city of Indianapolis is ready to start picking up all those leaves that you've been blowing or raking or even bagging for the last several days. DPW crews are starting their leaf collection today on this Monday. A pickup will run through Friday, December the 4th. If you want DPW to pick up your leaves, you're asked to put them in plastic bags and keep them at least 3 feet away from your regular trash. Leaf bags should be outside by 7 a.m. on your normal trash day. You can leave up to 40 bags of leaves for pickup per week. Remember that burning leaves is illegal in Marion County. And Todd Clausen, I could have used your help yesterday. A little muscle power and definitely your height, as it was Clean Up the Gutters Day here at the Sanchez home.
I saw that on your Facebook page, and you made the right move, Raphael, getting those leaves out of the gutters before they get wet, and it's the same thing for your yard. We do have some rain heading our way late Tuesday into Wednesday, so if you are thinking about getting some of those leaves up and leaving them out as they start leaf collection, Tuesday you're mainly dry still until late. The front comes through overnight, so Wednesday is the day that the leaves could be a little wet across the area, so just keep that in mind if that's in your plans. Maybe you kind of pushed it off over the weekend, didn't want to take care of it, but as we go forward throughout the day today, it'll be a good opportunity for you because one, it's going to be dry today and it's going to be warm once again as you head off to work. 56 degrees coming home from work. If you do have to commute, we're looking at a temperature right around 78 degrees. If we get to 78, that'll be another record high, the second day in a row. The record right now is 76 degrees, set back in 1999. Very much in jeopardy here today. There are some changes though heading our way by the middle of the week. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you so much. Republicans denied the White House in last week's election, but coming up, how the GOP was successful in other parts of the process.
Plus, scammers are hoping you'll do your part to help in the coronavirus pandemic. Still ahead, how they're using the pandemic to target your information. The time right now is 5:41. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. The Democratic Party won the White House in 2020, but they weren't as successful elsewhere. As John Lawrence reports, despite making historic gains in the House during the 2018 midterms, Democrats were not able to expand their majority last week.
President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris getting ready to lead the country.
I congratulate him, but I'm not going to put aside conservative principles. We're going to fight for the things that we believe in.
Now, although President Trump was denied a second term, Republicans didn't go away empty-handed on Election Day. At least 7 Democrats lost House seats while voters helped the GOP hold firm in many suburban areas that Democrats were hoping to win.
We're going to have to bring all parts. Our Democratic Party is not as united as I wish it could be some days, and it's going to force us to listen to each other and try to find ways to get some really important things for the American people done.
As for control of the Senate, all eyes are on Georgia. Incumbent Republican Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue are in tight runoff races against Democrats Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff, respectively.
If these Senate races go to the Dems, Kamala becomes the tie-breaking vote, and it becomes much more likely that Joe can push forward the kind of robust agenda our country needs to rebuild right now.
But if Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell keeps his position, President-elect Biden will likely have to adjust his goals over the next 4 years. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Meanwhile, in Puerto Rico, voters approved a ballot measure to make the island the newest U.S. state. Residents narrowly favored statehood, with 52% of the people there in favor of that move. Now, this was actually the 6th time that Puerto Ricans have voted on statehood. The non-binding referendum is not expected to change Puerto Rico's status anytime soon. Congress has the final decision on whether or not to add Puerto Rico as a state. Parts of
Raphael, parts of north central Montana dealing with blizzard-like conditions right now. This caused power outages and multiple crashes in the area. You can see here in this video the snow-covered roads. By noon local time Sunday, the city of Havre saw 11.5 inches of fresh snow. Some areas are expected to see snow drifts in the 2 to 3 foot range. The storm had gusts of 40 to 60 miles an hour and visibility near zero at times. A blizzard warning is still in effect there at this hour.
Tropical storm Eta making its impacts felt in South Florida after making landfall in the Florida Keys. The storm, with sustained maximum winds of 65 miles per hour, reached the southern part of that state late Sunday night. In Fort Lauderdale, dozens of vacuum trucks dispatched to help drain neighborhoods of standing water. Eta is expected to continue to move into the Florida Bay later today. The Keys could see a storm surge flooding up to 4 feet. The storm is responsible for at least 38 deaths in the country of Honduras. Here at home, Todd Clausen, what a beautiful day. And did we break a record?
You know, yesterday we did. We got all the way up to 79 degrees. That broke the record high yesterday. That was 76 degrees set back in 1999. The record for today is the same thing, set back in 1999 at 76 degrees. And my forecast high today takes us up to 78. So today is a day very, very similar to your Sunday. So if you weren't able to take advantage of the nice weather yesterday, today try to do so. And it's not very often you set a record 2 days in a row. In November 1999, obviously the last time that happened. Outside right now, it is nice and quiet. We had a little bit of cloud cover overnight, but that's basically cleared out. Just a little bit of lingering cloud cover in northern locations, but clear in Indy, 57 degrees. Just a light wind out of the south at 5 miles per hour, and it's that southerly wind that'll continue to take our temperatures well above normal. We're at 60 in Martinsville, 59 in Bloomington right now, 52 in Greenfield as you work your way to the north. A little cooler up in the Peru area at 54 degrees. Where are we going from here? Well, we quickly go through the 50s, quickly through the 60s, already 73 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour, and then high temperatures will eventually be topping off in the upper 70s across the area with a mixture of sun and clouds. Get out there, and the wind not much of an issue, so definitely make sure you take an opportunity at least to get outside for a brief period of time. Tuesday, the record is 75, the forecast is 75 as well. And so we're going to be very close to maybe 3 days in a row of record high temperatures. Tomorrow, the question is how quick do the clouds come in, and then how quick does this cold front make its way into the area, because it's that cold front that is going to be the game changer, not only for temperatures, but also bringing us a little bit of rainfall. And look at the temperatures on the other side of the front. Now, we're not going into the 20s. You don't have to worry about that, but we will be significantly cooler this evening. Sunset is at 5:34. Partly cloudy skies. Temperatures really don't fall off a whole lot once the sun sets. We're only back down into the 60s throughout the evening hours, and even overnight it remains mild, generally right around 60 degrees for your overnight lows. And then tomorrow it's definitely not as bright as it will be today with the partly cloudy skies, but temperatures still really mild, going all the way up to potentially tying that record at 74. Could be a stray shower tomorrow as we get closer to sunset, but most of the day is dry. The cold front itself doesn't come through until the overnight hour, so it's more of an early Wednesday morning thing. But by the Wednesday morning commute, we should be partly cloudy. Then nice weather Thursday and Friday with cooler temperatures, but actually seasonable for this time of year before some spotty showers return the second half of the weekend. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out the door at this early hour. Things are picking up, but still moving along up to speed here on the southwest side. This is our INDOT traffic camera at I-465 in Man Road. We'll continue to keep a close eye on the roads all around central Indiana right now. No major crashes or delays to slow you down. Raphael?
So Lauren, here's a timely consumer alert. The Better Business Bureau says that scammers are trying to steal your personal information by sending out invites to participate in fake COVID-19 clinical studies. Here's what you need to know right now. According to the BBB, scammers send out text messages and emails promoting these fake clinical trials. In them, they claim the study pays upwards of $1,000. You're directed to click on a link to take part in that study, which isn't true, but once you do, the BBB says that malware downloads onto your computer or your mobile device, giving scammers access to your personal information. The BBB says that real medical researchers would never ask for that kind of information during a screening.
At 5:52, Royal Caribbean needs your help to test out safety protocols on their cruise ships. The cruise line is seeking volunteers for trial voyages. The goal is to see if the new safety measures meet CDC requirements. Right now, Royal Caribbean is still trying to lay out more concrete details about how these trial voyages will work. The cruise industry is struggling to get back on its feet after taking a hard financial blow from the coronavirus pandemic. Last week, U.S. cruise lines canceled regular voyages for the rest of the year.
So Elon Musk's latest idea has nothing to do with cars or space, and how you can now get a taste of that idea when Good Morning Indiana continues on this Monday morning. Tesla is launching a new product, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with either space or with cars. The company recently unveiled a new tequila. It actually originated from an Elon Musk joke back in 2018. On April Fool's Day, he tweeted a picture of himself saying that he was found passed out by a Tesla Model 3 surrounded by a Tesla tequila. Bottles after the company went bankrupt. The joke became a reality this year. The $250 bottle of tequila is packaged in a hand-blown lightning bolt-shaped bottle. The tequila sold out within hours of its launch. I wouldn't recommend tequila just yet. A little too early for that. Maybe a cup of coffee, some orange juice, and maybe tequila later in the day, Todd Clausen.
Yeah, I like the shape of that bottle, though, the lightning bolt. That's pretty cool. All right, outside right now, temperatures are very comfortable. We're sitting in the 50s and 60s. 60 right now in Martinsville, 57 in Bloomington, 57 in Tipton. It's 59 currently in Muncie. So we're starting off already where our low temperatures, or high temperatures rather, should be for this time of year, and there are low temperatures this morning. Here's where we are going. Everybody's up right around 80 degrees. Later on this afternoon with mostly sunny skies. The record high is 78, so that is very much in jeopardy here once again later on this afternoon.
Todd, thank you. Agritourism businesses in the Hoosier State have been hit especially hard by the coronavirus pandemic. Coming up, all new at 6 o'clock, how one local getaway is shifting their business strategy to survive this pandemic.
Also new in our next hour, a local app is helping Hoosier hospitality workers impacted by the pandemic earn a paycheck. New at 6:30, how it's connecting those workers to all of those employers. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this Monday, November the 9th.